And it was just another day, yeah.
Just another day.
Until I went to the movies,
Until
now it's a
it was,
movie
another
Tuesday.
Just another
A movie
day.
Tuesday. Until a movie Tuesday.
Yellow and welcome, it's a new movie Chewsday. Talking about movie trailers and news for the movies. Oh, hello. Did you miss me? I'm back. God damn it. So, to anyone who follows me or pays attention to me on Twitter at the Chewels, that's the with two E's. I put up a post or I put up a tweet saying how winter had came for Sasha, and that meant that Movie Tuesday had to go on hiatus. But now I'm back, okay? If you remember at the end of that tweet, I did say I'll be back ASAP. ASAP meaning as soon as possible, okay? And this is the soon that I was talking about. A lot sooner than I expected, but I'm here. So yeah, man, long story short, Sasha took a turn for the worst. Couldn't get her to turn on. She kept on like acting up and everything and doing scans of discs and shit. So I threw up my hands and I was like, fuck it. It's time to take a break. Okay, we're gonna build the PC and we're gonna come back later, hopefully by the end of the year, right? Some shit was going on with my chick's computer, so she called a guy to come and fix it, and she was like, you need to have him look at your shit because he fixed my shit and he did it for like, a little bit of change, not too much, but just a little bit of change, right? So I figured, sure, why not? Because I remembered that I was a fucking American, okay? And if anyone out there who ain't American don't know, the way Americans like to deal with their problems is they either like to throw nukes at it or they like to throw money at it. And I ain't got no fucking nukes, so I threw money at it. So I called up the computer guy and I said, yo, you about to be the red priest to come up in this house and you're going to make Sasha Snow get revived and have her work again. And he came up in there, he worked his little magic and shit. And next thing you know, Sasha's working, she's back to normal. We're missing a few things, but the bottom line is that she's working. So it's good to have her back. It's good to be back. I'm sorry for being gone, but basically what I'm just trying to say, it ain't safe no more, okay? It ain't safe. All these movie studio people, the studio execs and movie critics and influencers and everybody like heard about what happened to me, and it was like, yo, dog, Chew's equipment is acting like shit. It's time for us to come up in this bitch and take his shit back from him, right? That he took, the movie reigns. But guess what? I'm back, all right? So all y'all can go back under your rocks, and take notes and learn from the best in the biz. Just sit back, relax, and let me do my thing. Anyway, we went on long enough, so let's get right into it. We're gonna get into the news. Unfortunately, we gotta start off with some really bad news. First of all, just know that I'm gonna have a mixture of some new news and some old news because there's some old stuff that I want to address from a couple weeks ago. But first up, coming from Screen Rant, courtesy of ScreenRantandDeadline.com, we got a tragedy to talk about. A stunt performer had passed away or died, however the term you want to say. A stunt performer lost their life on the set of Deadpool 2. So she goes by the name of Joy S.J. Harris. No relation as far as I know. But yeah, her name was Joy Harris. I don't know what the SJ stands for. I was kind of like scouring the internet to get whatever information I could on her, but I couldn't figure out what the SJ was for. But yeah, she was a stunt woman, and she ended up getting into a horrible accident on the set of Deadpool 2 during filming. Stunt went wrong, and she ended up crashing and losing her life. She lost control of her bike while filming a scene, and she crashed, and that was that. So that really sucks, man. They're still trying to run an investigation to figure out exactly what happened. But basically, the only news that I was able to find at the time of looking for more scoop was that it was something about like she was like a last minute replacement for another stunt performer, or I don't know if she was replacing someone else or if they just like got her on a whim to do a stunt. But she came in and they did rehearsals and shit, and for some odd reason she didn't have a helmet on. I guess they had like a special helmet that they were gonna make for her because the character that she's doing the stunt work for is the Domino character in the movie. And I guess in the movie she's gonna be riding around on a bike without a helmet on, so they ended up doing the scene. And I guess the plan was they were gonna make some kind of special helmet for her to where it wasn't like this big bulbous thing on her head, where it's probably gonna be a little bit more sleek but still protective or something. I have no idea. But either way, the helmet wasn't ready, so they ended up like filming the scene without her having the helmet on, which is pretty crazy to think. But so anyway, they shot the scene. They actually shot the scene a couple times, but they shot the scene. She lost control. She ended up losing her life, and that's it. Production halted a little bit. I think it halted for a few days or so for them to like get everything straight. But I think they started filming again today. Was it the 16th? I think they said August 16th was when they were going to continue filming the movie. But they did say that they did multiple takes of the stunt, like multiple successful takes. So they at least can, whatever footage they were able to get, hopefully they will be able to use that. So that could be like her going away present for everyone, you know. So I guess that's cool for her, you know, in the long run. First of all, dude, the thing is, first of all, thoughts and prayers obviously go out to the friends and family of Joy Harris. Like that's a tragic thing to happen. Got mad respect for stunt performers, man. It's a very, very thankless job in the movies. You know, usually, you know, when you're watching scenes and you can kind of like see glimpses of the stunt people, it used to be funny to me when you would like see a cut of a stunt person's face in the scene. But now I kind of look at it as maybe they worked out some kind of deal for that to happen so that they can at least get some kind of FaceTime on the camera for all the work they're doing and shit like that. So but yeah, I got mad respect for the stunt performers in movies, man. It's a very, very dangerous job, very thankless job. Secondly, why was there no helmet? I don't understand why. You know, I mean, I'm sure they're tired of hearing this shit, but I don't understand why they just couldn't wait for the helmet to be done and strap that on her and then do the scenes. I don't know why she was doing that scene without the helmet. So that sucks, dude. Like, what is the rush when people's lives are at risk here? You know what I mean? I understand the idea of like how filming works, you know, where it's like you only got so much film to work with. You only have so much time to film shit. You know, you gotta race the light, the daylight, or the moonlight, whichever one you're racing against. You know, just a race against time in general to get these movies done. But at the end of the day, it's better to fucking delay a movie to make sure that you kind of like check all the boxes to make sure everybody's safe and, you know, and doing their job safely. It's better to do that than to have something tragic like this happen, and then it holds up the movie even more with shit. And now you got like all kind of investigations going on to make sure there was no foul play or if there was no negligence on anyone's part, you know? So at the end of the day, basically what I'm trying to say is like, stunt people, I know you guys live life on the edge and 1 mile at a time and all this other stuff, you know, y'all adrenaline junkies and everything, but you gotta remember to be safe, okay? You're still human beings. You still got lives, and lives are precious. So, you know, just take that extra step and prepare yourself, okay? Try and be as safe as possible when you're doing not safe stuff, on the set. And that goes the same to the fucking filmmakers out there too. Don't be rushing shit, all right? Don't be like fucking cutting corners and everything like that. So yeah, once again, thoughts and prayers go out to the friends and family of Joy Harris. We'll just get a little bit of facts on her that I found thanks to heavy.com, because like I said, it's a very thankless job being a stunt performer. So Joy S.J. Harris. Don't know what S.J. stands for, but her other nickname with her friends and family was Fearless, because they said that she was a fearless person. Obviously, seeing as how she was fucking doing stunt work, and apparently she was a pro road racer. So and not only was she a pro road racer, it was the first African American female road racer. So she killed a couple of birds with one stone in that area. She was born in Brooklyn, New York. And so that's cool. She's a New Yorker, or she was a New Yorker. And she loved motorcycles and she loved racing. So, she got to do what she loved to do, which is great. So there's that was going for her. And as far as age goes, I have no idea how old she was. I could not find her age when I was looking for some facts on her. There was something, I'm gonna have to do a little math here, but there was something where it was saying that she first started writing when she was 29, I think. They said she first started doing the whole motorcycle thing when she was 29. No, wait, 25. I think they said she was 25 when she first started doing the motorcycle racing. And then there was something else that said like it was somewhere it said that she had learned to like ride motorcycles 4 years prior to this present year. So I worked my math out by watching or by reading some other piece where it said that she first started riding at age 25. So if so facto, I'm going to say that her age was 29, which makes this even worse because 29 is a young ass fucking age for her to pass away like that, even in her line of work. Like, that's fucking crazy. But yeah, so those are all the facts that I could get on Joy Harris. So once again, all you stunt performers out there, y'all need to be safe. All you fucking bike racers, motorcycle racers out there, y'all will be safe too. Y'all make sure y'all check all the fucking safety measures before you start doing all the crazy shit, okay? So this shit doesn't happen again. So yeah. Now, moving on. Sticking with stunts. Moving on to the next thing. Staying with Screen Rant, and we're staying with the stunts. Tom Cruise has injured himself on the set of Mission Impossible 6. He was doing a stunt. It was some stunt where he had to jump from one building to the other, and he ended up like supposedly biffing it, and he ended up breaking his ankle and hurting his hip. So he's out for, I think, about like 2 months or so that they said. They said it's going to take about like 2 months for him to recover. As of right now, production has halted on Mission Impossible 6. The director has come out recently and said that he wants to like continue the production, but he wants to just film the scenes that don't involve Cruise. Like, he'll get those out of the way, and then once Cruise gets back into action, then he'll film all of his scenes and whatever other scenes he needs to film with the other actors, with them on the same screen, and they'll work all that shit out, and hopefully they can make their deadline for July 2018. But as of right now, it's looking a little iffy if they're actually going to make that set deadline with Cruise being out and recovering and shit. So there's that. So I'm happy to hear that Tom Cruise is okay. That sucks. It's kind of weird too, because they were saying that I think they also got multiple takes of him doing the stunt. I think they said that. Maybe I'm getting it mixed up with the last one, but they either said that, or they definitely said that the stunt that he pulled, he wasn't supposed to make it to the other building. He was supposed to kind of like biff it, you know, like do the whole like jumping across the building, but he doesn't really make it, so he's got to like kind of hang off the building a little bit like that. So they were saying that that shit was supposed to happen, but something just went wrong to where he ended up hurting his ankle and hurting his hip. And Tom Cruise is even more of a badass now because apparently when he biffed it and he's fucking hanging off the side of a building, he was able to pull himself back up to safety and then like wallow in pain and shit after he was like safely onto the building. So makes Tom Cruise a even more badass than he already is. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, glad to hear he's okay. I got mad respect for actors who do their own stunts. Like, I do like the stuntmen and women, but I also like the actors who want to do their own stunts. It is pretty dangerous, but it kind of shows their commitment to the craft of acting, you know? Like, it's super dangerous for them to do it, but at the same time, it's like, hey, man, like, if this person wants to risk their life doing this crazy-ass shit, then why shouldn't I? So, I got respect for actors who do that. Obviously Jackie Chan was known for doing that stuff. Harrison Ford actually did a lot of his own stunts too back in like the Indiana Jones days. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he doesn't do them now, but back in the day, you know, your boy Harrison Ford was getting into work with the stunt work. You know what I'm saying? So Tom Cruise is no different, doing all of his. I don't know if he does all of his stunts, but I think he does most of them. It's kind of weird. I would assume that he actually did all of his own stunts because you really gotta think like, you think back to the last couple of Mission Impossible movies. What was it? Ghost Protocol, where he was hanging off the side of a building in Dubai or whatever. Like, so he does that. What was the one that he did in the latest one? He hung off the side of a building in Ghost Protocol, and then he hung off a fucking plane in the air in Rogue Nation. So it's like, you gotta think, if you're letting him do that kind of shit, what exactly are the stunts that you won't let him do? Like, it's like, whoa, we can't have you do this fight scene. This is too fucking dangerous. It's like, at that point, you gotta look at it just like, bitch, I just fucking hung off the side of a goddamn plane. Like, let me do this goddamn stunt. So, but anyway, so yeah, they're trying to work this whole thing out with finishing up the filming of the movies, so hopefully that works out for them. My question I have, and it's funny too because Screen Rant actually asked the same thing. I forgot who wrote the article, but they actually asked the same thing where they were like, I wonder if Henry Cavill can now shave his mustache off and do the reshoots for Justice League. Since it's going to take a while for like Cruise to get back, it's like, what if they're just like, hey, you can shave that mustache off now? I'm kind of confused too because I remember doing a story on Mission Impossible 6, and I could have sworn they said they were filming, but maybe I misread that, and maybe they were just finished filming in one location, because I remember reading something where they had finished filming in New Zealand, and I assumed that they were finished filming the entire movie, but you know, now they're still filming some shit, so maybe they were just done filming in New Zealand. So it's kind of crazy. I need to keep my eyes open for these news articles a lot better. But anywho, moving on to the next story. Big ass news section. Sorry about that, but you know, you just gotta deal with it. Moving on, we're sticking with Screen Rant. AMC. Why did I write Screen Rant here? Jesus. I mean, it says, never mind. Don't worry about it. AMC is trying to get out of the Movie Pass program. So, for those who don't know, Movie Pass is this program where you can pay like a monthly fee and see as many movies as you want. Like, I mean, you can only see one movie per day. Wait a minute. What the fuck? Oh, man, I forgot how it worked. I've heard about this thing, but basically it's this program where you pay this monthly subscription and then you go to the movies and you don't have to pay for the movie. So you can just like show them a card or whatever, and then you get your ticket, you go in, and then you can get like your popcorn and your drinks and candy and shit like that, and then go watch the movie. Now, I don't know if the original plan was you could just watch as many movies as you wanted, or if it was always just you can only watch one movie per day. But MoviePass has recently like dropped their price. I guess before it was like $30 or $50 a month, but they recently just dropped it down to $10 a month. And then they were saying, and they were emphasizing that you can only watch one movie a day. So AMC is trying to like back out of this whole deal. Like they were in it before, but now they're trying to back out of it because they are pretty much saying that this could be, in the long run, this could spell the end for like movies coming to theaters in the movie industry, just because they wouldn't be making as much money in theaters if enough people were signed up with this program. So here's the thing. I actually agree with AMC on this. Like I said earlier, I heard about this program a while ago. My buddy Steve from the Unlucky Dreamer podcast have been trying to sell me on this for the longest, and it was one of those things where he kept telling me, but I kept like blanking it out of my mind to like look into it further. But he was just like, hey, you know, you go to movies a lot, you should like sign up for this subscription where you can pay like $30 a month and you can see as many movies as you want. And like listening to him say it, I was just kind of like, I was like, I don't know, like I kind of already spend $30 a month, so I don't really understand what's the difference. I think at $30 a month, I think I would only save like $2 because I think my movie tickets are around like $8, and I go to movies at the very least at least once a week. So that's 4 movies. It's 4 movies in a month on a good month. You know what I mean? So I was just kind of like, I was like, I don't really see the point in adding another fucking subscription to the pile of subscriptions of the services that I already have. So I kind of just kept putting it off and never really like looked into it. So then today, of all days, it was very, very coincidental that this happened. But today, someone else came up to me and they were like, hey, it's like MoviePass just dropped their fucking subscription price from like $30 to $10. Like you should sign up for it. And I was like, $10 a month to see as many movies as I want? Holy shit. You know what I mean? So like I go to the site, I start reading it, and then there's something in the back of my head that's just telling me like, don't do it. Don't do it. And I was just like, why? Why do I feel this way? And it was just like, don't do it. No, it's not right. Just don't. I don't know why it sounds like that in the back of my head, but I have all kind of voices and shit because I'm crazy. But it was just something that was like pulling me away from it that just made me not like fill out the form and have the subscription, right? And then eventually like I came across this story and I was like, holy shit. I was like, that's what it is. I was like, it just kind of sounds like I'm fucking like fucking the shit out of the industry if I sign up for this subscription, you know? I mean, it sucks that it's relegated to one movie a day, but it's like, damn, dude, like I probably like like I said, on a good month, I probably would go to movies every day. Like I probably see every movie in the theater if I only had to pay $10 a month for that movie. Like that's crazy. Like that's $10 a month. What is that? I don't want to do that math. I'm not really good at math. But either way, that's way cheaper than what I would spend on a movie. Like $10 a month is $2 more than what I spend for one night at the movies. And that's just the ticket. That's not including like the popcorn and the hot dogs and shit that I get in the theater. So it's like I'd be saving a shitload of money. And at the end of the day, it's like AMC's still making their money because they're getting my concession stand dollars. But then like the people who made the movies are getting kind of not even kind of, they're getting screwed because it's like I'm basically just paying like a fucking dollar to go see their movie when you think about it. Like it's just cheap as shit, you know? And I feel and that's why I said like I do understand where AMC is coming from, because it's like if enough people sign up for this shit, like, you know, the industry could get fucked, you know? And there's probably some people out there who are probably remembering past movie Chewsdays where I've talked about like I'm ready for movies to leave theaters, you know? Like I'm ready to fucking sit at home and watch movies. Granted, this could be a step towards that, but at the same time, you got to remember that I do still like to go to the movies. I do prefer to watch my movies in theaters. I just don't want to deal with the shitheads in the theaters. I don't mind watching the movies at home without going to the theaters, but that's something that just like it has to be forced upon me. Kind of like with DVDs. Like for the longest, I was buying VHS tapes until one day like somebody at Best Buy was just like, you need to stop buying VHS and you need to start buying DVDs. If you will look around in this fucking section right now, there is one section of VHS tapes and there are shelves of DVDs stacked here. DVD is taking over. You're being forced out, okay? If you continue to buy these VHS movies, you'll be fucked. So why don't you just start buying DVDs and call it a day? Like, that's what needs to happen as far as, like, movies being played at home instead of theaters. Like, it literally needs to be somebody to come up and be like, hey, man, theaters are going extinct. All the movies are starting to come out on digital first, and then they'll come out on video later, but you can just stay at home watching movies. Like, it has to be something that's forced upon me, but given a choice, I'd rather go to the theaters to see it. So on one end of the conversation, Movie Pass potentially ruining the industry to where movies can be shown at home could be good, so I don't have to deal with shitheads in the movie theaters anymore, but at the same time, it ruins me. It keeps me from having the true theater experience that I look forward to with the movies. But then on the other side of that conversation, if enough people sign up for this program, then you get even more shitheads in the theaters to watch the movies. And seeing as how it was so cheap for them to even get into the movies in the first place, they'll act like even bigger shitheads because they'll be sitting out there talking and shit. And you'll be like, why the fuck are you talking so much? The fucking movie's on. Shut the fuck up. And they'll be like, whoa, bro, chill the fuck out, man. Like, I only paid like $1 for this. Got Movie Pass, bro. Why don't you sign up for it? I'm like, I did sign up for it, motherfucker. God damn it, we both paid cheap-ass tickets. But they don't give you the right to fucking talk all goddamn day through the movie. And they'll be like, chill out, bro. Just fucking catch the next one. I'm like, I can't. Because I have to wait a whole 24 hours because I can only watch one movie a day. All right. Anyway. Oh, man. It's good to be back. Okay. Moving on. That's all I had to say about that. Just in closing, okay, I agree with AMC. With the Movie Pass thing needs to like go away unless they have like some kind of stipulation where you can't watch like a newly released movie in theaters. Like, let's say you gotta wait like a week or two before. Well, they usually only care about opening week. I'd say like you have to at least like say for anyone with Movie Pass, you gotta at least wait like 2 weeks before you can use it on a recently released movie because, you know, we kind of want to get the bulk of that. But then you probably would get people who would just wait, you know, like, you gotta understand, man, motherfuckers is broke, okay? We ain't rich. We ain't got that Tom Cruise money. It's like, if people think that they'll save some money by waiting a couple weeks to watch a movie, I mean, maybe they'll make an exception for like the real big shit, like the Marvels and the Star Wars movies and shit like that. But like, for all these other movies, like your Dunkirks and your Logan Lucky movies, like the smaller stuff, like those are the ones that might really get fucked like day one, like ticket sales, you know what I mean? Especially like if they were to do the stipulation of, you know, putting like a little delay on it for Movie Pass goers, you know? So I don't know. It's a really sticky situation. I agree with AMC. There needs to be some kind of like stipulation put in place for the Movie Pass thing. There needs to be like certain movies that you can't just get cheap tickets for. It needs to be for something else. I don't know. We'll figure out something. I got my own ideas for a Movie Pass program, but I don't want to talk about it right now. I need to talk to a movie executive, okay? Because I can't be giving this shit away for free. Anyway, moving on. Sticking with Screen Rant. I love Screen Rant. In case you didn't notice, that's where most of my shit comes from. Oh, shit. This is Screen Rant and IGN, my bad. I first heard about it on IGN, but then I had to go to Screen Rant to get more of the info. Here's the thing. Daniel Craig has finally confirmed that he is coming back for Bond 25 So he did an interview recently with Stephen Colbert, and they asked him or whatever. I didn't watch it, but the subject came up of what the fuck is going on with you and James Bond, and he said that he is back, just like I am. He said, I'm coming back. I'm doing Bond 25. And not only am I doing Bond 25, this is going to be my last Bond movie, okay? I'm going out with a bang. You know what I'm saying? So he came out and he said that. He's already like talked about how the role is just like taking a toll on his body, on his mind and shit. And it's like he's kind of exhausted. And at first he didn't really want to do it, but then he was kind of just like, I just need a break, you know? But he said he wants to come back, or not that he wants to come back. He said he's coming back. He's doing it for sure, and he wants to like leave on a high note. So even he thought that Spectre wasn't that great of a movie. So I don't know what was going on with him in that movie, but yeah, like Spectre, it wasn't a terrible movie. It's just that it wasn't there. There was some disjointed shit going on with that movie. Like I still got it. It didn't stop me from like buying the movie when it came out on video, but I mean like still it's like the movie had its problems, and it would have been a bad note for him to walk out on. But then again, it's like, okay, dude, like not every Bond movie is like the end all be all Bond movie. There's some bad ones, I think. I just can't think of them right now because I like most of the Bond movies, but there's some that I'm just kind of like, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe like Living Daylights or something. Fucking License to Kill, where he's just pretty much going after a drug dealer. But I don't know. Either way, it's good to hear that he's coming back and that he finally like came out and said that he's coming back. Like, it's one of those things where if you need a break, dude, just say you need a break. Don't do all this fucking back and forth shit like, oh, I don't want to come back. I'd rather slip my wrist. Oh, well, you know, I do enjoy being James Bond, so maybe I will come back. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? It depends on how much they pay me. You know, like, we doing that shit, man. It's like, if you need a break, just say you need a break. Then you can put it in the fucking studios. You can put the ball in the studios court and leave it up to them to where it's like, hey, man, I've done 4 Bond movies. I'm exhausted. You know, I got a bad knee, and I just need a break. You know what I mean? And if the studio says, fuck you, put your goddamn tuxedo on, get in that car, action. You know, if they do that, then shame on the studio. But if they actually do care about the franchise, if they actually do care about the character, if they actually do care about the actor who plays the character, if the actor has the balls come up to him and say, hey man, I need a fucking break. They need to be like, you got it. Thank you for making me millions of dollars. Got your fucking break. How long do you need? We'll give you a year. And then that's up to you then. Like, it's just the ball shifted back and forth. Everybody just fucking putting their balls on the table and all this other shit. So, but anyway, yeah. So, anyway, sorry, I'm going off on tangents here. I'm glad that he's back. I'm happy that it's not about the money, because there was a story a while back where he was offered $150 million to play 2 more Bond movies, and he turned that shit down. So the fact that he's coming back and he's saying this is going to be his last one, it's good to know that it's not about the money, and I feel like his heart is in it this time. Not saying that his heart went in it the last time, but it's good to know that his heart is in it, and it's not about like him coming back just because they fucking dumped a whole bunch of money down his chimney. You know what I mean? So it's good. I like it. So but anyway, here's the thing. Here's what I want to say about that though. So I got this list. It's in my brain, but I'm about to put it into reality. I'm gonna steal a bit from a man by the name of Colin Moriarty of Colin's Last Stand, formerly of Kinda Funny. He had this bit where he would like bring out a whiteboard and write shit on it. I'm about to do that right now. So I got this list in my brain, and this is a list that I've devised where there's about to be two things on it. And it's a list of me just not wanting to talk about some shit anymore because I'm tired of the back and forth. So, you all might remember what the first thing was. Just write this down here. I'm sorry, we gotta do this live right now. It ain't safe, god damn it. Just fucking vibe with me. So, I'm gonna put some shit on here that I'm just tired of talking about and I don't want to talk about anymore until I see a fucking trailer. Okay? There needs to be some big ass news that happens for me to mention this shit again. So, we're gonna add something new here. Okay? It's the last time I'm gonna talk about Daniel Craig as James Bond and Bond 25 and shit. Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore until there's a trailer. Something absolutely big has to happen for me to talk about James Bond again. I don't care what the fucking title is. I don't care who the villain is. I don't care if they decide to use a Jaguar instead of the Aston Martin. It don't matter. I want to see a fucking Bond trailer before I talk any more about this movie, because this whole, like, going back and forth on whether Craig was going to be Bond or not, like, I don't want to do it anymore, okay? He said he's coming back. That's great. So, here's the list of things that I don't want to talk about anymore until there's a trailer. Alright, you see that? That's it. So, mark my words. Fucking bookmark this shit. Because what I say is law. Movie Chewsday. It ain't safe. Now, moving on, sticking with, speaking of Daniel Craig, as I half-assed my way through this segue, got one more piece of news for you. This is the old news I was talking about. I want to address it because it's very, very near and dear to me heart. So, this is courtesy of Cinema Blend, IGN, and Arizona Republic newspaper. So, Steven Soderbergh is handling the marketing, like, personally. He's handling the marketing campaign for his latest movie that's getting ready to come out, Logan Lucky, starring Daniel Craig. That's where the segue comes from. So, like, he's gonna be handling the marketing campaign, and you know, he's so, like, let me see. It's been a while since I wrote this down. So he's handling the whole campaign. So he chose, like, certain regions for where the billboards will be posted, certain regions of the country. Since the movie is about some country bumpkins or rednecks or whatever robbing a fucking raceway, I'm going to assume that he put up some billboards in, like, rural areas and by raceways. I don't know. I've definitely seen some, like, displays in movie theaters here in Arizona, but this ain't exactly a rural country, you know? But either way, like, I've seen some displays around. So he was in charge of where to put the billboards for promoting the movie. He has TV ads for the movie, like the trailers and stuff that show up on TV, but he didn't want to start showing those until it got closer to the release date of the movie. So I still have not seen a trailer on TV for it. I think the only trailer that I watched, it was on YouTube during, like, an ad for a video I was watching, but I have yet to see it on TV. I think the movie comes out, is it this Friday? I think it's this Friday when it comes out. So he might be showing the the trailers now. So he decided on when the trailers would be distributed to the public, and then he opted out of having a focus group for the final product. So, like, there was no, like, screenings for the movie. Maybe he had, like, private shit for himself and, like, close friends and shit like that. But for the most part, like, public screenings, he didn't do any of that. He didn't do any focus testing. So, and then he teamed up with some independent distributor called Blecker Street to distribute the movie out to theaters and stuff like that. So basically, he just saved up like a large sum of money to kind of like just handle like the marketing for the movie. So the reason why this is a big deal for me, the reason why I agree with this approach is that this is what a lot more household named filmmakers or just like actors and shit in general, people in positions of power in the movie industry, these are steps that they need to start taking with these movies, because this right here is a good step where it's like he is controlling the trailers and when to show them. You know what I mean? So that way you don't have to sit up there and be in a movie theater and you see a trailer for Lucky Logan and you're like, oh man, that movie looks interesting. When does that come out? And it's like fucking 6 months from now. Like, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't understand why I need to see a trailer for a movie that don't come out for at least a damn year. You know what I mean? There's a movie getting ready to come out, I think next week, that I was looking forward to, that I remember seeing a trailer for way back, dude. In fact, I remember recording a movie Chewsday talking about it. And it's this movie called Ingrid Goes West. And it's like, I saw the trailer for that movie and I was like, man, dude, I really want to see that. And I'm thinking it's coming out like maybe like within the next week or some shit. And they're like, no, it comes out in fucking August. And I'm like, god damn, dude, like, why are you fucking showing me now? Like, this shit was back, like, this was like last year, I think, when they showed this trailer, dude. Like, it was crazy, like, the gap with things. Like, even right now with the Marvel movies where it's like, there's all these fucking articles and shit about Infinity War. And it's like, dude, Infinity War doesn't come out for, like, what is it, like another 6 months or something? It comes out in May and it's fucking August right now. Why is there so many damn articles talking about this movie? Why are you hyping this movie up like so far in advance? You know what I mean? It's a Marvel movie. Like, how much hype do you need? You know? So I like the idea of him just being like, the closer we get to release of the movie, that's when I'll start showing trailers, which is great because that gives you enough time to watch the trailer, get excited for the movie, and then you can go see the movie instead of just watching trailer after trailer after trailer for months on end. So then by the time you go see the movie, you're sitting there just like, I've seen all this shit already. Like, show me something new. You know what I mean? So it's cool that he's doing this type of shit. And I know it's costing a pretty penny, but Steven Soderbergh is a pretty big name, so, like, I would assume he has a lot of money. I don't know if he's got, like, James Cameron money, but he's got a lot of money, okay? So it's like, it's time to start flexing that fucking money and putting it to use instead of just buying another house in Venice and a fucking boat and shit to ride around the watery streets of Venice or something. I don't know. You know how fucking actors be having their houses in LA and then they fucking buy cottages and condos in other countries and everything for vacation homes and all that. It's like, that's great, dude. Like, enjoy your money, but at the same time, like, why don't you use some of that shit to make the movie industry better? You know, and start sending a message out. Another person, like, there's another person who did this, and that was Luc Besson or Luc Besson. I heard somebody say Besson, so I'm just gonna call him that. But the guy who did the Valerian movie, he's also known for doing the Fifth Element movie, but he recently did the Valerian movie. Now, his whole thing was that movie was crowdfunded. Like, he put his own money into the budget, but then he also, like, crowdfunded the movie. I don't know where he got the money from. Like, I don't know if it was like something they did worldwide. I don't remember seeing anything like that, but that movie had a really big ass budget. Okay. So he had like a lot of control over that movie as far as like, I don't know if he had control over like the marketing of it, but just how the movie was made, he had a lot of control over that. As well as like getting the actors that he wanted. Now, granted, the movie wasn't that great. The movie could have been better, but I like the fact that I like the idea that he made the movie that he wanted to make, which is great, which is the same thing that's going on with Soderbergh's movie, Logan Lucky, is like, he made the movie that he wanted to make, and that's what Luc Besson did with Valerian. It's like, regardless of what the critics say, regardless of what I said about the movie, at the end of the day, props to you for following your dreams and making the movie that you wanted to make. So that's awesome. The thing is that we just need to make the movies like good. You know what I mean? Like it's not enough for the big name actors and filmmakers and stuff to put all these things together and kind of like take complete control over it. The movies need to be good and they need to perform well as well, because that is what's going to help send the message to these industry execs to where it's like, you guys don't always know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, Logan Lucky still has yet to come out, but Valerian wasn't that great of a movie. Like, the main actors had no chemistry, okay? The sound design wasn't that great. Like I said, I don't know if that was the theater or if it was just the movie itself, but sound design wasn't that great. The plot was fine. Your lead actor made a horrible action hero. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's great. That's your choice. I'm glad that you got to make that choice, but at the same time, it's like you got to remember that you got to make the movie good as well. Like, especially if you're going to like forego public screenings and shit for the movie, you gotta use your fucking instincts to make sure you're doing the right thing. And I don't understand how Luc Besson did not see that his characters, like his two main leads, just lacked any kind of like chemistry with each other. So, or any kind of like camaraderie that they should have had. But yeah, it's just like Logan Lucky still has yet to come out. Another movie that a big name actor had a lot of control over was Atomic Blonde. Charlize Theron was her production company had put that movie together. Like, they found the comic that the movie was based on. It was something that she was interested in and wanted to do. So like, she got a lot of that shit put together, like her and her team. And it's like once again, like, the movie ain't terrible, but it's not like the best movie ever. Like, there's some shit going on there's some like disjointed shit going on with that movie that kept it from being like the hit that I wish they could have. But this is what I'm saying is, like, we need to get to the point where these movies perform well so you can like shove it in these fucking execs' faces. Because when you have movies like Valerian that come out and they flop, and you have movies like Atomic Blonde come out, and I don't know if that movie flopped, but I know that the critics, the consensus on that movie was kind of like 50-50, where you had people that really liked it, but then you had like a lot of people who were just like, the action's good, but other than that, you know, the action's good, the soundtrack's good, but other than that, like, the main character wasn't really that interesting, you know, and the story was a little convoluted. So it was like really 50-50 on that movie. It wasn't like straight up just, that was a good fucking movie. It's good that Charlize Theron like put that whole thing together. I guess we don't need these execs the way they think we do. Like, that's the message that we're trying to get to, and it's a little hard right now, but we're on the right track where there are big name, household name celebrities and filmmakers that are like starting to take these movies by the balls and being like, this is how this shit's gonna go. Fuck the fuck off. Sit back and let me make my goddamn movie, okay? But it sucks if the movie doesn't perform well, because then the execs come with their fucking cigars in their hands and like, looks like you need us after all, don't you? You know, so anyway, that's it for the news. Let us get to the trailer. That's right, I said trailer. After, you would think after 2 weeks there would have been a lot more trailers that I've seen, but I haven't. There's only been one trailer that I've seen that caught my eye and caught my attention and got me excited. So yeah, let's get to that. Ready Player One. I've seen the trailer that so many have talked about from Comic-Con, because I guess that's where they premiered it. I finally got to see it. And this movie looks fan-fucking-tastic. And I can't wait for it to come out. And when does it come out, you say? Why, March 30th. So, we're once again going back to that whole thing of, why the fuck did I need to see this fucking trailer for a movie that ain't coming out for a long ass time? So tired of this shit. It's so annoying. God the wait. The only good thing that comes from this date, from this big ass gap until the movie comes out, is that now I can read the book, because I heard about this book years ago. Like it was way back that I heard about this book. And people kept talking about it, but they never explained what it was. It just kept saying you need to read Ready Player One, right? And so I just kind of like ignored it for the most part. It just kept like playing in my head of people saying you need to read this book. And eventually I was talking to my mom, like maybe it was like late last year. I was talking to her and she was like, "Oh my God, it's like I just read this book and it was so amazing. It made me think about you." And I was like, "What was it?" And she was like, "Ready Player One." And I was like, "God damn it, this fucking book just keeps following me everywhere." And she was like, "Yeah, it's about how did she explain it? She said it was, well, the movie, we'll just get into a synopsis of it. But I was like, what is the book about? I was like, what makes it so good? And she was like, well, it made me think about you because it's about like video games and shit. It's about this dude that plays video games, and I like to play video games. And she was like, it's about it's in the future. It's like this dystopian future where everybody is in like this VR world. And the person that made the VR world had died, but he left like some kind of riddle in the game, in the VR game. He left some kind of riddle in there, and if someone could solve it, then they would like inherit his company and all of his wealth and shit, right? So I guess the story follows this one guy who's like really good at video games or some shit, and it's just him trying to like it's just him in the VR world going through all these games, trying to like solve these puzzles and riddles and shit. And he's got to like race against everybody else in the world who knows about it, and they're trying to get to it. And then there's like all these corporations that are trying to like figure out some shit so they can get the fucking riches. And it's just this big old rat race of people trying to figure out this riddle to inherit this guy's company. And she was saying how there's all these like pop culture references in the movie as well to like I think it was like a lot of 80s shit. So she told me about it, and I was like, okay, like I'll read it. I'll get the book, I'll read it, and then I'll let you know what I thought. I ended up buying the book. I just never got around to reading it, dude. Like even now, I think I'm reading American Gods. I'm reading this other book that my niece wrote, but like it just takes me forever to read shit because it's hard. It's hard for me to devote time to sit down and read a book when I want to like watch a TV show, or I want to play a video game, or I want to hang out with my girlfriend, or I want to go to movies and shit like that. Just all these things that are pulling me every which way. So it's very rare for me to like find time to read a book. But I have the book. I just need to read it. And I would like to read the book before the movie actually comes out. Now, the trailer, going back to the trailer of the movie, it looks really interesting. It's crazy. Like it's one thing for people to tell you shit, but then it's another thing to actually see it. I'm a very visual person, so it's crazy to kind of like see the whole thing of like people having VR shit on, because for those who don't know, I'm one of those fucking VR nuts where I'm like, VR's the future, man. Like, we're all gonna be fucking wearing our helmets, man. This world is doomed, and it's gonna be run by servers. And where do you think we're gonna go? We're gonna go to the VR realm. Like, I'm one of those people. So the fact that this movie is about that, or at least like that's like one of the pillars of the movie, one of the story structures to it, is kind of crazy. Obviously, I freaked out too when I saw the DeLorean rolling around, and then I really lost my shit when they showed the bike from Akira, because like they showed like glimpses of it, and I was like, "Is that?" And then they did like a slow mo of it doing like a little power slide. I was like, "Holy shit! It's a fucking bike! It's fucking Kanada's bike, or Kaneda, however his name is pronounced." So like I was freaking out when I saw that, but the movie looks great. Steven Spielberg's at the helm, so I'm expecting nothing but the best for this movie. I think like he's gonna really knock it out the park when it comes to world building and having like some emotional attachment to the characters and stuff. So, and then it's also gonna have a dope ass soundtrack most likely. So I'm like, I'm actually really looking forward to this movie, but it's a long ways away. But luckily, I got the book, and I'm gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it right now, but that is a goal of mine, is just to read that book before the movie comes out. Mark my words, I'll do it. I've heard it's a quick read. We will see. Now I just need to find the book because I forgot where I put it. Oh man. Anyway, so that's all I got for trailers. Like I said, I don't know, man. I've been in the movies, but like they just keep showing the same trailers over and over again, and then there's like trailers that they show that I'm just not interested in per se. So yeah, I mean, I guess there was this one movie with Idris Elba that looked okay. It just looks like Alive, like straight up. Like it's him, it's Idris Elba and Kate Winslet. I shouldn't be talking about this because I can't remember the name of it, but it stars Idris Elba and Kate Winslet, and they're on the plane flying somewhere. I think he like hitched a ride with her or something, and the plane ends up crashing. They're the only two survivors. They're out in the middle of nowhere in like the fucking mountains, like the Swiss Alps or some shit. I don't know. They're somewhere in the mountains where there's snow and wolves and bears and all kind of other wildlife or whatever and ice, and they gotta like survive. They're like trying to figure out like if they should wait for people to come and rescue them, or if they should just fucking walk and see if they run into a cabin or some shit. I don't know, but it's man and woman versus the wild. So it looks kind of cool. I mean, Idris Elba's in it, so obviously I'm somewhat interested, but I don't know if I would go and see it or not. It'd probably be a movie that I see if I've seen everything else I wanted to in theaters, and I just wanted to see a movie. So unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the movie, but just fucking look up the IMDb for Idris Elba or Kate Winslet, and it should pop up in 2017, I think is when it comes out. So, but speaking of Idris Elba, let's go to the movie, shall we? So Dark Tower, I saw the movie. I heard it flopped. It's so funny because like they were saying how like I didn't read the article, but I saw like some headline where because the week before Dark Tower came out, Dunkirk had came out. So the week after Dunkirk comes out, you know, Dark Tower goes, and then they do all the like numbers and shit, and they're like, oh, you know, Dark Tower wasn't a success, but it beat Dunkirk for #1 spot in the box office. And I was just like, that's not, I mean, I get that you got to report that, but at the same time, that's not really something to be excited about. Like, I know Dunkirk is a Christopher Nolan movie, but like I said in the Dunkirk review, it's still a war movie, and war movies don't really do that well as far as like repeated views. You know, it's one of those things where it's like there's going to be the big group that goes and sees it day one or week one, but then that following week, it's going to be like a slow trickle to where that movie ain't going to make as much money as it made opening day. So the fact that Dark Tower was able to take the #1 spot from Dunkirk is not really a big feat. So yeah, but anyway, so Dark Tower, I went to go see it. For those just in case, before we even get into it, I didn't read the books. I never read the books. I never heard of the books until it was announced that they were making a movie. So fuck off with your, you should have read the book. You only got these questions because you didn't read the book. So, yeah, I didn't read the book. Here's the thing. Dark Tower wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't a good movie either. I know I keep saying that. I have said that a lot this year with movies, but it's true. You know, I just don't like to flat out say, oh, this movie wasn't great. You know, it's like, the movie wasn't terrible, but it didn't fucking get my bean wet or my dick hard, whatever you want to say. it was a simple ass movie. It was one of those movies, man, where like I was just watching it, and a lot of the questions that they had set up, like they ended up answering it, like all the weird shit that was going on in the movie, like they answered everything. You know, it took a little bit for them to get to it, but they eventually like there would be scenes in the movie where I'm just like, what the fuck was that all about? You know, and then like a couple minutes later, or maybe even an hour later, they would like explain it, and I'll be like, okay, all right, we're good now. We're back to being square. All right, so yeah, it was a simple ass movie, dude. Like, and even like the movie opens up with Idris Elba talking, like I think they even did in a preview where they were like, oh, the Dark Tower is a tower that stands between the real world and the mid world, what they called it. And they're like, if the tower falls and darkness will spread all over. And so like they set the movie up like that. So here's the thing. It's just a simple story of good versus evil. And that's it. You know exactly who the good guy is, which is Idris Elba, the last gunslinger who is in charge of protecting the Dark Tower, and you have Matthew McConaughey's Man in Black. I think. Well, oh wait, I don't know if I should say that, but I was gonna say something else that could possibly be a spoiler or kind of ruin a surprise if you were to go see it. But Matthew McConaughey is the Man in Black, and there's no question at all that he is the bad guy. But we'll get to that in a minute. So like I said, the a lot of the questions that the movie introduces get answered. It was the questions that I wanted that the movie did not answer, and if it did, I just wasn't paying attention. And my questions were about the fucking Dark Tower, where I'm like, okay, who built it? Okay, like I don't think they ever explained like who built the tower. You know, why was the tower built? What is it made out of? Why the fuck is it so vulnerable? You know what I mean? Because basically, like, and this, I don't think this is a spoiler. So basically, like in the beginning of the movie, it says the Dark Tower is the bridge between the real world and the fantasy world, right? So like and they said the only thing that can like bring the tower down is a child's imagination. So Matthew McConaughey's character, the Man in Black, goes around grabbing kids and hooking them up to a machine, and they shoot like brain powers or whatever at the tower, right? So there's the main kid, Jake, which I think that's his name. Yeah, Jake. And Matthew McConaughey's after him because he's special, you know. Maybe he's a child with the imagination that can bring down the tower. So the little kid is trying to find Idris Elba's character because the kid knows about the tower through like having like weird dreams and shit, and he has like dreams of Idris Elba's gunslinger and finds out like, oh, you know, they're the defenders of the tower and shit, and you know this guy is trying to fucking destroy it. So he's off to find Idris Elba's character, the gunslinger, and then Matthew McConaughey's Man in Black character is off to find Jake, right? So like the thing is, like I said, it brings me back to the tower where I'm like, who built it? What's it made out of? Why the fuck is it so vulnerable? Like the gunslingers protect the Dark Tower, but like what happens when all the gunslingers get killed by some evil wizard dude dressed in black and there's nothing left to defend the tower? Like, why the fuck is it so vulnerable? Why isn't there a force field? Who lives in the tower? Is there anyone in the tower? You know what I mean? Like, this was the shit that I wanted to know, and the movie did not explain it to me, and I was kind of pissed off. Now, granted, I know it's based off or inspired by a series of books, so maybe they want to explain some other stuff in, like, future movies if they were to do some sequels to the movies, which may be unlikely since the movie didn't perform that well. But like, maybe they want to explain some stuff in other movies, right? But here's my thing. The movie is called The Dark Tower. So I feel like you need to give me as much information as possible about the tower instead of waiting for other movies to then tell me what the fuck is going on with the towers. Like, you need to give me a little bit more than what you did give me. So that was like the main gripe that I had with the movie. Um, so that's that as far as like the story goes. Then there's the characters, all right, which we'll get into like the acting abilities of people. So the kid who plays Jake, what the fuck is his name? Tom Taylor. He's all right. He's your standard young actor, just kind of like going through his paces. He didn't do anything to blow my hair back, and he didn't do anything to make me want to vomit. So there's that. That's at least he's got that going for him. He's right in there in between. Idris Elba's kind of there as well. I mean, he sells the whole like action hero type thing. The gruff, reluctant hero. We've all seen that shit before. I like the whole little reloading tricks that they did. It just sucks that they showed a lot of it in the previews. So like a lot of shit that they were showing on screen, I was just like, yeah, that's cool. I remember that from the trailer. They didn't really do much else new for his character. So like with his character kind of like being gruff and reluctant, he doesn't really have that much personality. I would say like by the time they actually start doing interesting stuff with this character, it's pretty much damn near the end of the movie. So it did kind of suck that I felt like his character was actually starting to get more interesting. But then by that point, the movie was getting ready to go off. They were getting to like the third act of everything. So that kind of sucked. Matthew McConaughey was a dope ass villain as the Man in Black, So like, there's two types of villains that I like. I like the villains where you kind of like sympathize with them. You kind of like get their motivations, and you're like, yeah, it's like what you're doing is evil, but I do kind of see where you're coming from. So maybe it's not that evil, Like I like those types of villains, and then I like the villains who are just like flat out ruthless. Okay, the ones who ain't afraid to kill a fucking kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like those types of villains. I hate the villains who are, like, hell-bent on world domination, and they fucking have, like, nuclear weapons and shit, and they're threatening to drop it over a city, or they fucking kill, like, hostages every 10 minutes until their demands are met. I hate the villains that do that type of shit, but then as soon as it comes to where they're, like, face-to-face with the kid or a woman, they're all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, no kids, no women, life is so precious. Why would I want to hurt this young soul? It's like, fuck that, okay? That kid needs to die, okay? You're about to fucking drop a nuke on the city over here to set an example. You don't think there's kids that's gonna be under that nuke that you're dropping? So why the fuck ain't you killing this kid in front of you that's like trying to stop you from pressing a button? You know what I mean? So like, I hate those types of villains. But Matthew McConaughey is not that type of villain. He is flat out evil, okay? I don't even want to give away the shit that he does. It's just like, he really sells it at being a villain, all right? Like I said, there's just no question at all on this dude's motives. It's like, you look at the shit that he does, and it's like, you are fucked up. You're an evil man. You're very bad. You are the bad guy. There's nothing I can sympathize with you about. Like, you're doing evil shit. But I do respect the fact that you live up to the fucking threats that you put out. And I like that he wastes no time whatsoever. Like, he monologues. He does like the villain monologue, but he knows when to do the monologue. You know what I mean? And when he says he's going to do some shit, he fucking does it. All right? He puts the plan together and he executes. He don't get to the fucking, like, end point and then he stops and he's like, oh, let me tell you why I'm doing all this, and let me just hold this thing here that you can just fucking stop me at any time while I monologue. Like, he doesn't do that type of shit, okay? So props to Matthew McConaughey for his role in this movie. He sold it, and it's one of those things where it's like, I would want them to do sequels to the movie just so I could see more of him in that role. So there's that. But overall, dude, I felt like the movie was holding back on some shit. Like I said, like a lot of the questions that they bring about in the movie, they get answered, but at the same time, it just seems like they could have went a little bit more in depth with it. Is all I was looking for was some shit. Like I said, like for example, the Dark Tower. It's like, yeah, man, you're telling me like what its purpose is, But you're telling me what the purpose is. You're telling me why it needs to be defended, but you're not telling me the entire story. There's something else going on with the tower. It's not that clear cut. I need you to give me more information. So that's my like overall thing with the movie is like it's very simple. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just right there in the middle. It just seems like they could have went a little bit more in depth with it. The one recommendation I will give you, because here's the thing, I do not recommend going to see this movie in theaters. I don't even recommend watching this movie like when it comes out on cable, like how you kind of like put movies on in the background while you're cooking dinner and shit. I don't even think it's worth that. It's just, I don't know. The movie didn't even sell me on the books. Like you would think like after watching the movie and not getting the information that I wanted, that I would immediately just go to a bookstore and be like, hey, give me the Dark Tower books, okay? Because I want to get some to the bottom of this shit. You know what I mean? None of that didn't happen. I have no interest whatsoever in getting the books and reading them, okay? That could change down the road, but as of right now, not interested in the Dark Tower series. But movie's not worth watching in theaters. Not really worth watching on video and on cable and Netflix and shit like that, unless you're just like super, super curious, or you just really want to see Idris Elba run around and be sexy Idris Elba while shooting a 6-shooter, which BT Dub, is it a 6-shooter or is it a 7-shooter? Because I was counting shots and he kept on shooting more than 6 times with one gun. So I'm assuming that it's a 7-shooter, but I don't think it's a 7-shooter. Is that even a real thing? I don't know. But anyway, getting back to it, the movie I would recommend seeing is Miss Peregrine's Miss Peregrine's Peculiar School. God damn, what the fuck is that movie called? It's really hard. Ava Green's in it. Ava Green and Asa Butterfield. It's Miss Peregrine's School for Peculiar Children, I think. I would recommend watching that movie over Dark Tower because oddly enough, they're actually really, really similar as far as like the story and the structure of the movie are like parallel to each other. Like I don't know which one came first. I don't know if Dark Tower was written first or if Miss Peregrine was written first. I don't know. But somebody was inspired by somebody, or it was just one big ass happy coincidence that those movies like ran parallel with each other as far as like how shit got executed with the story. But the thing that puts the Miss Peregrine movie over the Dark Tower movie is that they actually sell you on their world. They actually give you enough information to where you understand what you're watching on screen. Maybe even to the point where you get a little confused because it involves like time travel and shit. But I feel like they did a better job at giving me information in Miss Peregrine than they did in the Dark Tower movie. So, yes, there's that. Okay, so that's all I got for you with Dark Tower. So, we'll move on to the next movie, which is Annabelle Creation. So, yeah, recently went to go see this. I don't know where my notes are, but you know what? Fuck it. All right, I'm just gonna fucking do this shit off the cuff. So here's the thing with Annabelle. So I saw the first movie. I didn't see it in theaters. I think I saw it on like Netflix or something. And I didn't hate the movie. I actually thought it was actually a pretty decent movie as far as like horror movies went. It was a lot better than what I expected. So naturally, I was interested in seeing Annabelle Creation, which is the prequel to the prequel / spinoff to The Conjuring. So, as far as like the story goes, I mean, the story's okay. It's just, I really kind of turned off my brain with the story just because I don't feel like they offered anything new that any other scary movie has offered with like evil dolls and shit and the spirits that inhabit them and all that. They didn't really do anything revolutionary in this movie as far like story wise. You know, it wasn't a bad story. It's just that it's I felt like it was like a run-of-the-mill evil doll type story. The thing that had me interested in this movie was just the scares, okay? I just wanted to see the scares and if the scare tactics have been cranked up. And I'm very happy to say that they did. I was actually very impressed with the techniques that they used in this movie. For example, the jump scares. Like, jump scares are cheap. I mean, movies nowadays really, like, I don't know, they don't use the jump scares right in a lot of horror movies nowadays, dude. It's always just like unearned. It's really cheap. You know what I mean? Like, they do the thing where they'll have like the close up of somebody's face, and then they turn around, and then they cut to the scene of what they're looking at, and then the next minute they just have some jump out in front of the screen at you and shit, and they crank up the sound design and all that, and it makes you jump. Like, that shit's cheap. This movie has jump scares, but it's intellectual jump scares. Like, it's well, not intellectual. It's organic. It feels more organic when they do the jump scares in this movie, because there's like a lot of build up in scenes, and they do a lot of like cool techniques with like the lighting, to where they'll have like a scene where there's like a well lit room, but then there's like certain sections of the room that are really dark to where you really can't see what's going on. But they do things in that darkness to where you can barely see it, to where it creeps you the fuck out, okay? And they do it numerous times in this movie, and I was very impressed with it. Like, there was more than one occasions in the movie where like I was just kind of like, all right, dude, I'm getting a little freaked out right now the way they did that, you know. But it was cool the way they did it. Another thing that they did in this movie that I really liked was that they're starting to play with the background of scenes, okay? So like, and it's something that I've been wanting a lot of like of these scary movies to do for a minute. I'm trying to think of an example. If you've seen like the latest movie, Blair Witch, the latest Blair Witch movie, there's a lot of scenes where they do like environmental shots, like, you know, with the cameras like kind of panning around. They do like a lot of like long takes of characters doing things, and then they have these wide shots where you see like all these trees and shit, right? Or they'll have like a person in front of the camera, like they're facing the camera. It's like a close-up shot on their face, and then there's like the background with the woods and everything, right? And I feel like that's a moment where they could be doing some shit in the background to fuck with the viewer, but they just don't, you know? And in Annabelle Creation, there's a couple scenes where there are things that happen in the background, and it's fucking dope the way they do it. Like, you know, where like, I don't want to give it away, but there's like a scene where there's a close-up on a character's face, but then there's something that's happening in the background. And normally doing things like that, they'll start with the character in the screen, but then they'll have something move in the background, but then they'll like kind of change the depth, and the person in front will get blurred out, but then the thing in the background clears up to where you can see what's going on. Whereas in this movie, they keep the fucking background blurred out to where you see some shit happening, but you can't really see what's happening because it's not like focused in on it, you know? So it's just a lot of shots where they kind of play around with the background, and I really liked it. I was very impressed with it. Another thing that they did in this movie too is that there's shit that happens at night, but then there's shit that happens in the day. And there's actually a couple of movies that are starting to do that now, which I'm really digging, because before, you know, you go to these scary movies and you're like, oh man, it's daytime, the fucking sun's out, nothing scary is gonna happen, you know. But then at night is where everything just starts to get cranked up. Whereas like in this movie, it's like it's shit that's happening in the day, and there's shit that'll pop out or shit that'll happen, and you'll be like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? And then at night it gets even worse. So there's that. So yeah, that was the shit that I was very impressed with as far as like what I liked about the movie. As far as gripes go, the only gripe I really have with the movie is the doll. Okay, like, yeah, man, we're getting into the origin stories of the doll, and how it was made and why it was made and why it's so fucked up and shit like that, right? I can't really go in depth with it without spoiling anything, just in case you go see the movie. But what I will say is, they do explain the motivations of the doll, but they don't necessarily explain how the doll works. Like, there's shit that happens where it's like, there's some shit going on this end of the house, but then the doll is on this end of the house. So you're kind of like, well, what the fuck do you need the doll for if there's shit going on over here? You know what I mean? That's like the best way I can explain it. It's just, I don't understand the full capabilities of the powers of the doll. And this is why I said earlier, I kind of like had to turn my brain off as far as like when it came to like story and motivations for characters and shit, because I'm mainly here for the scares. Like, that's what I'm here for. But at the same time, sometimes my brain gets switched on and I get thinking about some shit and I'm just like, you know, that didn't really make sense. Like, why are you doing this shit over here, but then over here you fucking do the complete opposite? You know, it's kind of weird. Like, the most I can say is, like, there's certain things, there's certain motivations with the doll where it's like, this person over here you fucking flat out kill, but then this person over here you just fuck with. Like, you had numerous opportunities to kill this person that you're fucking with, but for some reason you just continue to fuck with them. Whereas this person, you waste no time at all to just fucking be like, die! You know what I'm saying? So, that was like, was kind of like irking me during the movie. But for the most part, like, I thought the movie was actually pretty good. You know, it wasn't terrible. It was an enjoyable movie. I definitely liked it better than I liked the first one. I don't remember the first one that much, but I just remember a lot of like clever scares that they used in that first movie, and they like cranked it up to 10 in this movie. Another thing that I like too is like I'm really impressed with the world that they've built around The Conjuring. You know, like, this is the first glimpse I've gotten with like not exactly a shared universe, but just like things that are happening in the same world of other movies, which is what Universal talked about doing with their movies. You know, how they were saying how what is it, the Dark Universe, where they were saying like it's a shared universe, but the movies operate on their own. And I feel like James Wan and crew, who have been doing The Conjuring, and now they got the Annabelle movies, and now they're gonna start doing they're gonna do a Nun movie, and they're gonna do a Crooked Man movie. I like how they are doing what Universal has said they wanted to do, which is they have these movies that take place in the same world as these other movies that they've done, but they do operate on their own. Like, I feel like you can watch the Annabelle movie without watching The Conjuring and won't really be lost. You know what I mean? Or you could just watch The Conjuring and never have seen Annabelle and you won't have to be lost. You know what I mean? They're more of like just, they do The Conjuring and they introduce these fucking scary ass objects and characters and ghosts and shit in there, but then they'll go and do like their solo movies to kind of like expand on that character a little bit more. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but I'm very impressed with the way they're doing it. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but they're doing a good job so far, and I do look forward to that Nun movie that they're going to be doing, because that Nun is creepy as shit. So yeah, but overall, other than that, I like the movie. I thought it was pretty good. Is it worth seeing in theaters? I mean, I kind of feel like you could wait till it comes out on video or Netflix and rent it, you know, and then check it out. But like, if you're thirsty for a horror movie, I would say go to theaters and watch it, so then that way you can get that full experience. You know, you can get the surround sound and shit when they build up all the tension, and you know, you get like that fucking screen. Like I said, like there's certain parts where the way they use the darkness and they have shit move around in it, like it's really impressive the way they do it. And I feel like it wouldn't have the same effect on you if you just watched it at home. I feel like it is worth going to see in theaters to see like the fucking scare tactics that they do. And that's the thing too, is like if you do go see the movie, I feel like you need to go in just wanting to see scary shit and not necessarily go in there being like, I really want to know what's up with this doll. Like, why is it so creepy and shit like that? You know what I mean? Like, don't go in like that. And so yeah, man, that's about it. That's all I got for you, man. You know, like I said, I'm sorry for the hiatus. You know, like Sasha she wasn't feeling well. You know, but I got her some help, and she's good now. She's real good, and I'm back. That was movie Chewsday. Now it's just another day, and it ain't fucking safe.
And it was just another day. Yeah.
Just another day.
Until I went to the movies, and now it's a movie Tuesday.
Just another
A
day.
movie Tuesday. Until a movie Tuesday.